Welcome to our daily reflection for this Monday, August 22nd, the Queenship of Mary. And we'll come back to the Queenship of Mary at the end of our reflection today. And I want to focus on the gospel reading. Jesus is upbraiding the scribes and the Pharisees, and he's giving them a strong rebuke. In fact, it's very stern. He warns them that they have locked themselves out of the kingdom of heaven, and oftentimes they make disciples whom also become twice as much a child of hell as themselves. That's pretty stern stuff. And why does Jesus do that? Well, then he goes into a long description of why they're blind guides. And I want us to discern what makes the Pharisees and scribes blind, because that's going to incapacitate them from entering into the kingdom of heaven, and we want to enter, so we don't want to be blind. So what causes them to be blind here? Well, he talks about, if one swears to the temple, they say it means nothing, but if you swear by the gold of the temple, which means the treasury, then that's an oath that has meaning. Or if they swear by the altar, it doesn't mean anything, but if somebody swears by the gift on the altar, well, that has meaning. Why do the Pharisees and scribes and the Sadducees make this such a big deal about swearing to the gold of the temple and the gift on the altar rather than the temple itself or the altar? Right? In other words, swearing by God is the idea. Well, I think probably what's going on there is by swearing on the gold of the altar or the gold of the temple or the gift on the altar, it's saying basically if you're not going to keep that oath, you're going to lose your gold, or you're going to have to pay a fine, or you're going to have to pay a gift. And so that there's a financial purchase involved, and that's more powerful. And Jesus is saying, no. It doesn't matter. The gold in the treasury in the temple is not as significant as the temple itself. It's the temple that makes the gold sacred. It's the altar that makes the gift sacred. And what does it make that makes the altar and the temple sacred? It's God who dwells in the temple. And so it's, if you swear an oath invoking God, that's all that should matter. A monetary fine or culpability shouldn't add to the fact that you're swearing by God. And if you break an oath to God, then that's serious because your salvation's at risk. And so what's going on here is Jesus is reminding them that it's about God, but here's the deeper diagnosis. They get caught up on the material possessions, the gold and the gift, rather than the temple and the Lord of the temple. And sometimes we can get focused on the gifts of God rather than the giver. We can focus on the creation rather than the creator. And that would make us blind. And that's the real spiritual danger here that Jesus is warning against the Pharisees, that they have become materialistic, even though that they tend to have very religious jobs and they have strong religiosity, so to speak, but they're focused on material things rather than the immaterial God. And so for us, we want to focus on not the gifts of God, but the giver. We want to focus not on the things of creation, but the creator. And Mary is Queen of Heaven because she had that spiritual focus. Yes, she has this title, Queen of Heaven, which is a title of great power and majesty. But remember, during her earthly life, even as at the Annunciation, she is a poor woman. And even after she gives birth to the Messiah, she lives in poverty. In other words, Mary is not focused on the gifts, but the giver. She's not focused on the creation, but the creator. And that's why the creator and the giver of all good gifts gives her glory and honor for all eternity in heaven, because she had her heart on what mattered, and that was the spiritual realities, not the physical and temporal things of this world. And so Mary shows us the way to unlock that kingdom of heaven and enter into it by not pursuing material things of this world, but the things that last: love, faith, hope, charity. These are the things that last. And if we pursue them, we will be with Mary in heaven in glory. May the Lord bless and keep you.